Welcome. I'm Krista Gibson, the host of Keeping It Real, and I'm also the publisher of newspiritjournal.com. So today I'm going to do something that I haven't done on this show before. And yes, it's still going to involve practical spirituality, but it is going to be maybe for some people a little airy-fairy, so we'll just kind of see how that all pans out. My guest today is a woman named Danielle Gibbons, and she is a channel. Now, many of you may know what a channel is, and some may not. A channel is a person who is able to bring through messages from people on the other side, and generally the messages are from either saints or guides, angels, and some people think, well, it's just the person making it up, and who am I to judge one way or the other? What I look at is, are the messages of value, and is the person coming from integrity? In this particular case, I believe the messages do have value, and that Danielle is definitely coming from a place of integrity. She's been a channel for Mother Mary since 1994, and they give retreats and online courses and readings with people and so on, and really have a very high message. Now, Danielle and Mother Mary together have written a book called Mother Mary's Pathway to Love. It's a really good book, and it's interesting because one chapter will be Mother Mary, and then the next chapter will be Danielle. And she shares her life story in the book, where she came through addiction and some difficult times before she did become a channel for Mother Mary. So we're going to meet Danielle, and I'm going to ask her to tell us more about what it means and who is Mother Mary and what sort of messages might be there. And then she's going to go into a brief meditation, and she will actually channel for us a message from Mother Mary. And I have some questions that I hope I get to ask because this is being recorded on the Monday after the mess that happened in Charlottesville over the weekend, where white nationalists had a protest, and there were counter-protesters, and there was some violence. And anyway, because of some things that Mother Mary says in the book, it would be really interesting to me to have her talk about that. So I'm going to see if we can't do that. So let's go meet Danielle and Mother Mary and see what we can learn. Welcome, Danielle. It's so exciting to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Krista. It is great to be here with you.
So as I told our viewers initially, this is the first time that I've had a guest on my show who's a channel. And
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It hasn't been for want of, not wanting to do it. It just hasn't worked out. And so when you approached me, I thought, wow, how interesting. So I thought we could start with you saying a bit about how this all started and who is Mother Mary and what does it feel like to channel her? Let's just kind of hear some of those things.
Okay, great. I'd love to. It's an interesting story just because it was not on my top 10 career choices by any means. And I was fairly new on my conscious spiritual path. And as you read in my book, I was forced to spirituality through desperation and my addiction with food and all of that good stuff. So I'm grateful that that's where my path led me, because right away when I stepped on the spiritual path consciously, it felt so normal. It felt right. It felt like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for, you know? So I was on for about a year and a half and just exploring everything and anything. And I met someone who channeled. So I had a little bit of experience with channeling, but he was the kind of channel that would just sit and with his eyes closed and get messages and then relay them to either if you had an individual or the audience, whatever. So that was really my experience with channeling. And I was about a year and a half in, and I was having this extraordinary meditation, the kind where you just feel like you dissolve and you're one with everything, I felt like I was just out there. And Mother came to me in that moment And I have to say, I had never experienced unconditional love like that before. Even though my growing up, my home life, we had definitely some problems and difficulties, but it wasn't this horrifying place to grow up in. But I had never experienced unconditional love before. And I felt deeply seen and accepted at the same time that love was there. And I thought, wow, this is home. This is an amazing feeling. I want more of
more, please.
Yeah, exactly. Pick me. But she said that she and I had this agreement in this life for me to channel her, and did I want to honor that agreement? And I knew in that moment, well, first of all, I love that she was giving me a choice. She was asking me, not telling me. That went a long way for me.
Yes.
Just personally, because I am a bit of a rebel, so that was helpful. She knows me so well. And then the second thing I felt was I could have said no, and that love, that unconditional love and acceptance would not change.
Right.
That it really was unconditional. It was not dependent on what I did or didn't do, said, didn't say, whatever. But I wanted to say yes with my whole being. It was that one moment in life where I felt everything I had done and everything I was going to do had met in that moment.
Right.
I think of it as my defining moment, And so I said yes with my whole being, not really knowing what I was saying yes to, which is a good thing because the way I channel Mother Mary is not the way this one person channeled that I knew. So it was a very different experience. And from that moment forward, she has provided me with experiences and people and mentors and, all the help that I could possibly have needed to, serve as one of her full body channels. And, you ask who Mother Mary is. I get that a lot. People say, well, how do you know it's Mother Mary? And I say, I don't know. I have a knowing, but I think that's sort of the foundation of faith. I can't prove it. I can't offer any kind of definitive proof. And nor do I feel at this point I need to in that respect. I think it's an individual's process, whether it feels right for them or not. And she says through me that her last human lifetime was Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus.
That's what I was going to say, and that's the Mother Mary we're talking about. Okay.
Yes, and that was her last human lifetime. She had evolved to the point that she was able to really integrate his teachings such a way that she finished off her cycle of, life and death through humanity. And so after that point, she has just been evolving herself, and now at this point, she is a pretty significant aspect of Divine Mother, and she uses the Mother Mary as like a touchstone for people, because most people, even if they had a horrendous Catholic upbringing, their relationship to Mother Mary is beautiful and touching. And I've heard so many stories over the years, Krista, that they just make me weep. They're so beautiful. I was thinking of one woman who told me that she had the kind of childhood that you just, you read about and you think, oh my God, this poor child. And she was raised Catholic, and there was a lot of abuse around that, in addition to other things in her home. But she had this little glow-in-the-dark Mother Mary that sat on her bedside table. It was plastic. She actually gave me one and my son one, so we both have one in our room. And that was her anchor, that little statue. And she always felt Mother's love no matter what was going on. She felt that love. And having that level of compassion and love in your life, I think, is something that we all need deeply, because no matter our history or our present situation, we all have difficulties that at some point in our lives we have to deal with. And to have an ally, to have a being in your corner that is giving you unconditional love, so much compassion, all acceptance, just 24/7. It's like nothing else. It is really an extraordinary thing. So I'm so grateful for the gifts that have been given to me, but particularly my relationship with her. It's the foundation of my life.
And I think you're saying too that she's there for everybody, that it's not you may have a unique relationship with her in the sense that you channel her, but everybody who wants to can have a relationship with her, and it doesn't matter their background, their religion, lack thereof, or whatever.
Absolutely.
That it's not about that. It's not about being Catholic or not Catholic or
no. Yeah, she's evolved
way beyond that.
Church. Yeah, absolutely. And I have a unique relationship, but by no means exclusive.
Right.
Through me, she's always encouraging people to go directly to her, to develop their own relationship with her. I don't mean to sound diminishing for what I do or my own gifts or any of that, but I really am just a tool.
Right.
It's like I'm a stepping stone or a bridge, right? A bridge between the individual and Mother. And that bridge just helps them to form their own intimate relationship with her.
Right. So you have indicated that Mother Mary is willing to talk to our viewers today.
Yes.
So I think this would be the perfect time to do that. And a question I have is, once she starts talking, I mean, I would like her, I think I told you before we went on air, I would like to have her address what happened in Charlottesville this last weekend and the bigger issue of racism and hatred and violence that is happening in our world today. And she does talk about this in the book. So anyway, if it's possible, I would like to have her comment on that.
Absolutely. So it'll just take me a minute to bring her through. And when she does, she'll say hi to you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. Hello, beloved one.
Hello. Welcome.
It is wonderful to be here with you today and all those that are watching and listening.
Wonderful. It's a delight to have you here and delight to have the opportunity to speak with you. I would like to ask you about what's going on in the world today, the hatred and the violence. And this weekend we had an incident in Charlottesville where people were injured and hurt and people died. And, it's all coming back to, the hatred and so on. And in the book, you talk about forgiveness and judgment. And can you address all of this for our viewers?
Absolutely, beloved one. And I want to also say just a thank you to you for your willingness to have me be a part of your interview today. I know that this is first time for you, and I want to acknowledge that it takes a certain amount of courage to step forward and be a pioneer, to do something different or unusual. And I want to acknowledge you for that, beloved one.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And that leads me right into what I would say about what happened in your country this weekend. And recognize that first you individually have a shadow, and collectively that shadow works together, right? The individual shadow is connected to the collective, or makes up the collective shadow. And as you read in my book about shadow, you need both shadow and light, right? Because light is growth, it is movement, it is expansion, but it's also very fast and burns through everything, all the veils, all the layers. And the shadow is that which tempers the light. It slows things down so that you can all, in your humanness, you can catch up to your own growth, all right? Mm-hmm. So there's always movement, there's always evolution happening as human beings. And what occurred is very indicative of the changes that are happening all over the planet. There is no mistake that the poisoning of the earth and these extreme disruptions with people are happening all at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. You are all at a tipping point. Mm-hmm. You are deciding collectively how you want to go on. Mm-hmm. And the majority in the collective would like to see more equality between the genders. First, the physical gender that you embody, right, in any particular lifetime, but also more deeply, the energy that those genders tend to hold, right? So what's happening is that a certain way of life is dying, and you are experiencing the death throes of that. The patriarchal way of living is not well, and neither would the matriarchal out of balance, right? Mm-hmm, right. Neither are sustainable. Mm-hmm. So you all are living in a time where the imbalance of the patriarchal way of life is catching up to you, both environmentally, mentally, emotionally, physically, the way you relate to each other, and your ability to love. So what is sustainable is when there is more equality between those two energies, and that then translates into the genders. Mm-hmm. So what I would say to all of you is that it is a time in your history where you must dig deep to find compassion, to look at all the different people that are involved in any given situation and recognize their pain is your pain and your pain is their pain. There is understanding, there is always common ground. Even if you do not believe or agree with the politics or the actions, when you go within another individual, you always find common ground. So there are many individuals in your world now that are fighting to preserve the patriarchal way of life. Right. And then there are others in the world who are working towards bringing about more equality, because here's the rub that gets sort of frustrating for some people. In order for the feminine, the divine feminine, or the matriarchal to come back into equality, you cannot fight your way there. That's hard for people to swallow. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Fighting is sort of a way of life, and mm-hmm. it's in your collective, it's in your consciousness. So we have to fight to have women be equal. And that doesn't mean that the opposite of fighting is passivity, apathy, or doing nothing. No, no. The opposite of that is true peace. So to bring back the balance, to bring quality to your world, you must live, act, behave, believe from a place of love and peace. That when that is flowing from one individual, 2, 3, 100, 1,000, when that is flowing, then it has the power to take the fight right out of the situation. It always is the stronger energy, right? But it can't be forced. It can't be pushed on people. It cannot be assigned to people. People must come to it organically. And the best way they can come to it is when people like yourself, who is doing what we are doing right now, is day by day reminding people, offering people a way to love, a way to peace, to keep that at the forefront and let go of the fight, because the fight will not get you where you want to go. I can guarantee. The fight will perpetuate the patriarchal energy as it is now, right? So you're being offered a choice. Do you want to show up for the fight, or do you want to allow peace, right? So if you just stop showing up for the fight, and yet you hold your ground with love, with integrity, and with courage. That's what is being asked of all of you now, to hold your ground for love, not to fight for it, but to just know it, to be solid in it, that it's the foundation by which you make all your choices, all your decisions, what to engage in, with whom to engage in it. Let it flow from love.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, beloved.
If the main issue right now is racism against people of color. So if, for instance, a black person or Latino or a person with brown skin is watching this and they say to you, but I'm being discriminated against. You know, the police pull me over because I'm a black man. People are being killed and shot. In terms of practicality, what could you say to a person of color in the midst of all of this? How do they love? How do they do that in terms of living their daily lives when they are being mistreated?
Yes. Let me just say that I understand suffering more than you can possibly know. And I recognize that life can have a great amount of difficulties, particularly based on the color of your skin, your religion, your culture, your gender, your sexual orientation. These are all things that create difficulty. But, and here's my perception of all these things that you experience. This is your opportunity to serve, right? So as an African American male in this country, when you are pulled over by a policeman, this is your time to serve. How can you love this policeman or policewoman that has pulled you over? How can you show them love? How can you, not that it's your responsibility to change this person in any way, but how can you let go of the fight and show them love? Because I guarantee you, you will change someone's life If someone has a preconceived notion of you and they try to intimidate you, they try to pull you over, they try to make problems for you to be kind, to be generous, to smile, to cooperate, not to the extent that you are harmed in any way, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. You do not lie down to be a doormat. But what can you extend to that person who is suffering under the burden of hatred? If you have ever felt hate or despair, imagine that you walk in their shoes for a moment, that they are experiencing that same burden. Mm-hmm. It is so debilitating to the spirit to carry around all that hate and prejudice and pain. But for you to turn, to offer love, to offer kindness and compassion, that can shift everything around. Not just for that person that has pulled you over or is creating problems, but for you. Right? Because they are not creating your prison.
Right.
You are creating your own prison, where you're the one being pulled over or you're the one pulling people over. It is your own prison. When you reach through the bars and offer your hand, it can change everything.
I understand what you're saying, and I wanted to ask that on behalf of people watching this who are people of color, who are facing that. So thank you so much. Well, we're coming to the end of our time that we can spend with you today, and I just really appreciate your being here and talking to our viewers, and just thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You are so welcome, beloved. Again, thank you for having me.
Definitely, yes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you. It was a wonderful opportunity to get to experience Mother Mary and get her take on what's going on, and I think she shared some wonderful things. So thank you for being here and sharing that. Now we need to get going here in a minute, but I wanted to give you the chance to tell people how they could get in touch with you, because I know you have a great website, YouTube channel, so tell us more.
Yes, my website is belovedpublications.com, and there you can find a huge variety of ways to connect with Mother. I do webinars, I do live workshops and retreats throughout the year. I have an awesome, thriving YouTube channel. I post a new video of Mother's every 2 weeks. And so you can subscribe on YouTube, or you can sign up for my community. And if you do, you get an awesome mini course that's a video and audio, and it's about preparing for and connecting with your spirit guides. It's really fantastic. And that way, if you're a part of my community, you'll know right away anything that I'm offering. And I've got lots of other free stuff on the website. So yeah, big variety, and so many teachings of audio recordings over the years that are for sale through my website. And of course, as you told everybody, our awesome new book.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's Mother Mary's Pathway to Love. I keep saying pathways, but it's singular. It's pathway. Yeah, but it's a great book. I'm thoroughly enjoying. It's one of those books that you don't just read once. because there's so many good ideas and good things in there. It's one of those books you highlight and come back to multiple times. Yeah, so thank you for doing that. And isn't technology wonderful that, it used to be you had to physically be with somebody, and look what we're able to do. I just so appreciate technology and like YouTube and these wonderful ways that you can get teachings out. I can, it's just, we live in marvelous times despite all this other ruckus that goes on.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I agree. I think I'm astonished daily of what I can do that, just 10 years ago I could not do. And it's wonderful.
It is. Makes the world much smaller. Well, thank you so much for being here, Danielle. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I encourage my viewers to get in touch with you. Go check out all the wonderful things that you have, and to build their own relationship with Mother Mary. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Krista.
Thank you for joining me today. That was a lovely interview with Danielle and with Mother Mary. And certainly Mother Mary said some outstanding things. And I did appreciate what she had to say about love. And you and I know love is always the answer. The trick is figuring out how to do that. And especially when we're challenged and people are doing crazy things like what's going on right now, it's really easy to fall into the whole place of the judgment and the anger and the pushback. And whatever we do, whatever actions we do or don't take, I think the point that was being made and that I want to make is that it always has to come from that place of acceptance, the place of no judgment, and the place of love. And that can be difficult. Nobody ever said it was easy. And, I also like to always remember that at least in my belief system, and maybe in yours, we did choose to be here during this particular time. And that means we do have a way that we're meant to contribute. And it could be a small way. It could be a behind-the-scenes way. It could be in a big way. Whatever it is, be ready to step up. Be ready to do whatever your part is. And I say that as much to myself as I do to you. So thank you again for being here. I hope you'll be back with me next week. And remember, no matter what's going on in your life, remember to keep it real. Bye now.